Hey Taurus, thank you for choosing the flowering for your December 2018 reading. We're doing the pick a card format, and we're going to do three groups from the Psalms deck. And while I was prepping for your video, it was 2:22 came up on the clock, and I just real quick decided to go over and just see what messages were coming down from the angels with that number. So the the sorry the website that I ended up following on brought this up. The spiritual leader Gandhi recognized this truth in his quote: your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. And so, whatever is December, this is a good time to think about the cycles that are coming to an end and what's beginning, okay? And what have you been seeding all year long? What have you been putting efforts into? What have you been putting your mind into? And what was your attitude surrounding that thing, or those seeds that you were planting? This is we're moving to the end of the year, so as we move into the new year, we are anticipating some type of harvest to begin, okay? For a lot of you are anticipating that something that you have stuck to and focused on is manifesting in a way. As I scroll down here, it says miracles are coming your way. The seeds that you've been planting have literally been a script that you've begun to write for your new chapter. So everything that has taken place, I say in this last year, but so let's go in the last 11 months, has been a seed for what is coming. So wherever your thoughts were focused, wherever your heart was, whatever you're holding on to and whatever you were able to release, this has all created the energy and the potential for your next year or your next chapter. Says, if the ideas that you've consciously or unconsciously nurtured actually serve you for your highest good, continue to water and care for them. They will emerge from the fertile ground of your mind, and you will soon see them manifested into your life experience as your own creation. And then for some, you're being asked, as you begin to see the fruits of these thoughts and actions that you've been taking, you're asking yourself if those thoughts, actions, behaviors, or whatever, feelings have supported your highest good. So you can only answer that question once you begin to see the results of the thoughts that you've already had, or the actions that you've already taken. And so now, as you move into December, Taurus, things that you've long held on to, thoughts, beliefs about things that you've long held on to, I feel you are asking yourself if they've really brought you very far. And the thing is, if right now in the month of December, let's say, if you can identify things and ideas and feelings that were negative, or maybe caused opposition for you when they manifested into the physical, you can still trust that the universe is giving you time to acknowledge. Because a lot of times it's just an acknowledgement, and then we move in that acknowledgement. And the universe, God, can see that we have done so and can rearrange things, reorchestrate things, and it can be a miraculous turnaround, okay? I also, before we start, got this feeling of putting on a new face. Some of you might be changing your look, or even releasing a facade that you may have been wearing for a long time. It's like, as you see the results in your environment of what you've always put out there, you're kind of feeling like, maybe I want to take on something else, take on a different way of being. And this is not about changing who you are all the way around. This is just acknowledging that holding so tightly to certain values and things like that may have pushed you further away from what you were actually trying to obtain. So, with no further ado, We'll move right on. Also, if any of you Taurus are dealing with a loss or have dealt with a loss this year, you are coming to the realization that that loss was meant to help you feel a little deeper, to help you open your heart to feeling the things that are here for you to experience. And not to be cliche, but you're realizing that the death of those things or these people or just whatever, these losses were meant for you to garner wisdom. And then they also make space for abundance that's in flow to you. So may I have the 3 cards for Taurus's? Pick a card for the month of December. There's another. Guys, these cards are jumping out. So it does feel as if lots of things are popping up. And I feel that Taurus had, instead of being so steadfast in the one way of doing things, as these pop up, as these ideas or epiphanies, insights pop up, you're quickly integrating them into your being. And it's almost like you wake up a new person overnight, after so long of being a certain way. You just wake up and one day you're just not the same person, or your values have shifted, or you knew they were shifting and you kind of still held on, and now you're just like, forget it, I surrender and I want whatever it is that's meant for me to have. All right, so let's take a moment, Taurus. Take a deep breath in and exhale, allowing one of the cards to reach out to you. And we're going to move in. We're going to move in. Ooh, some of you might be moving in somewhere. I said we too, so maybe some of you are having a conversation like that about moving in with a partner, and maybe there was reluctance to do so before based on your beliefs or past experiences. You were reluctant to do that, and now you're allowing yourself to do that. The wind just blew and hit my window. A leaf, I think, maybe. So, group 1, Psalms 57:7. Yeah, for some that is tied to the general message. The message that's coming down intuitively is tied to the general message before, is if you have been planting seeds in poisoned soil, if your mind has been poisoning your crops, the ground in which you've been planting seeds, now you are shifting out of that, okay? You're aware of what those types of seeds yield. And it's funny because anytime we project fear upon a situation, we can make it dark. It doesn't have to be, but anytime that we carry something forward to a situation or into a situation, we can often find ourselves drowning in something that we were meant to, drowning in water that we were meant to walk on, So let me read this. They prepared a net for my feet to ensnare me. They dug a pit for me, but they fell into it. It's going to backfire on them. The source of all pervades all, which means that everything is infused with order. Chaos, therefore, is an illusion. Everything is as it should be, and everything unfolds as it should unfold in accordance with natural laws. What constitutes a natural law, however, is debatable. Over the centuries, some groups have oppressed others for breaking what they considered to be natural laws. that is, inviolable cosmic principles. Sorry. Despite this, countless people around the world view the dictum, what goes around comes around, as a bona fide natural law, which in mystical circles is known as Chok Hakamul. If you live the cleanest life possible, you will see this very law operating in your life, which means that those who scheme to harm you will find themselves harmed instead. So, in its very literal sense, please take that message. However, in what the message that I'm receiving is, the schemes were these dark illusions in your mind. It was the negativity that was being projected upon situations that you were finding yourself in. And I say negativity, not to say that all of the situations were sunshine and roses, but it seems as if your mentality or your thoughts about it could have darkened it even further, could have soiled it even more. And only naturally, when we are attracting things with a mindset that way, we continue to attract things that reflect what our mind is projecting. So what I feed my mind, what thoughts I feed my spirit, will manifest and come back around to me in physical form. Okay? And we can call this law whatever we want to call it. But, you know, we can call it manifestation, attraction, or whatever. It's you in your mind painting a picture of this scenario with cheap ass paint. Okay. So something that was meant to be beautiful, expertly done and crafted for you, it's like you smear poop all over it. And let's clarify. Time to clarify. Let me get a couple of shuffles here. For Aries. For Taurus, December 2018. Taurus. It all falls down. That's what they say. That's what I just heard. When it all falls down, you will be standing. When all of that clears and settles, all of the things that you were bringing into your existence, once it clears, you will still stand, and you will have a story. You'll have a testimony. You will be able to say, I am now 100% certain that everything that happens, I created, or I call it in, or the experiences that I'm having, I have my choice of how I will experience them. And depression, negative thought can turn into depression in no time. If it's a subject or an item or a person, if it's tied to anything that means a lot, okay? So a negative thought about it can really spiral down into depression. Some of you may have been dealing with depression this month, and just working to kind of find your way out of your own darkness, that you're coming to the awareness of the idea that it's yours, okay? It's not a dark cloud following you, but it's a dark cloud that you create where you go, wherever you're going. Wow. So group 1 of Taurus, let's see. Please have 3 cards, please. Chariot in reverse, 10 of Staffs in reverse. Not moving forward with the burdens of fear and depression, okay? Taurus. Things that have kept you bogged down for some time, that has blocked you creatively, that caused false starts in your life and your relationships and projects. These are things that you're ready to put down, okay? We got the Chariot card in reverse, the 10 of Wands in reverse, the Page of Staffs in reverse, Page of Wands in reverse. And you're coming to understand that, I swear, this energy of not moving into the next few months, into the first quarter of January of 2019 with this stuff is big. This is a mega message for you guys. A lot of you are coming to a place where you want to roam. You want to free yourself from any attachments to things that you were once so concerned with or even obsessed over. Yeah. The Chariot being clarified with the Eight of Cups, saying that yes, you're moving in a newer direction. And some of you, let's be clear, some of you are realizing that the direction that you were moving into or something that you walked away from it because of your own darkness, because of what you saw and felt in that situation. And those feelings and thoughts were residual from past experiences, even past lifetimes. But you didn't understand that. For some of you, you may have just come out of, or will be experiencing some type of awakening, some new insights regarding what foundation means for you, what type of foundations you want to build, what stability means for you. I get the feeling that a lot of people are moving away from the idea that stability means what they were taught it meant, like buy a home and buy a reliable car and go to school. And so, not to say that these things aren't valuable, but some of you are finding that you walked away from certain experiences, people, things because of your own perceptions and your own ideas and thoughts. I say your own, but those that you carry with you, those that you subscribe to. You walked away from them, and they could have been leading you towards higher purpose, I hear. But with the major arcana in reverse and the Eight of Cups upright, I get that the divine is still watching you. The divine is still seeing you. And you are now taking a higher perspective. I feel like this Eight of Cups walking away can eventually turn into the Chariot upright, if that makes sense. The Chariot being that card of moving forward in the direction of your highest will and highest purpose for me. And the Eight of Cups meaning just walking away from something that's not fulfilling. So someone walked away for something that was meant to expand them and raise their consciousness. All right, it was meant to bring forth a certain change, and you walked away from it based on your darkness. Your darkness. Even preconceived notions about what is right for you. Okay. Please clarify the Ten of Wands, please, for group 1 of Taurus. Please clarify the Ten of Wands here. Five of Wands. Yes, the burdens of conflict, you just releasing those. It's not even conflict, but there was a misconception that there were conflicting goals and agendas in the situation, and that's what is causing you to change direction or to change course, to change your thoughts, to change the people that you're surrounding yourself with, not because the situation is actually ill-fitting, but because the perception of a mismatch was there before and caused you to walk away. It caused conflict. And so moving through December, I feel that the awareness, basically trying to get back on path. You're trying to change the scenery is what we're saying. You're trying to change the scenery. Please clarify the Page of Wands. Queen of Swords in reverse. Yeah, there is, and maybe during the retrograde. So with December and January, kind of bringing it, the energies kind of oozing back out or leaving us. It feels like any lack of some things are going to be revealed to you or continuing to be revealed. I feel as for you guys during the month of December, you're coming out of that hole. And the way that you're climbing out of it is you're changing one thought at a time, almost building like a little staircase out of this hole. Every time you have an insight and integrate that insight, you're able to shift. So for some of you, this is using affirmations, and I feel like some of you are really training your own thoughts in your mind from one way of thinking to another. And yeah, you're taking responsibility for what has been created around you, and you're finding that you're going to use that. It's basically you're going to do your shadow work, and you're going to transmute that into a new fertile environment, since you know the power of thought and the power of action and the power of words. You now know that if I created dark in my life, I can create light. I like it. Group 2. I just heard their eyes were watching God. I don't know what this card that actually stands for, but that's what I heard. Their eyes were watching God. Zora Neale Hurston. It was a book, and then they put it into a movie. Halle Berry is in the movie. But this card here really shows me like a peering through something, you know. I see like tinted windows, and then you're looking through tinted windows to try to see what's going on the other side. And this really makes a lot of sense as we detach from the physical more. You know, we become more grounded between the physical and the spiritual, and we are seeing past what the physical has to show us. You know, we're seeing with God's eyes. And I said their eyes were watching God, but really we're seeing with different eyes than we've been able to see with before. Our view was kind of skewed or something like that, if that makes sense. Yeah, our view was skewed. Psalms 13:4. Look at me, answer me, O Lord my God. Restore the luster to my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Shine for the sake of others. Light and darkness love to dance with each other. Light uncovers darkness, and darkness covers light, which are their principal dance moves or steps. You, along with the rest of us, are caught up in their intense and often violent choreography. They dance around you, in you, and through you. When you serve as an instrument of darkness, even if temporarily and or unwittingly, your eyes will appear dull. When you surrender to the light, however, the radiance of the indwelling divine will shine through your eyes. So this is a twofold thing, you know. You are peering and seeing past. You're seeing with the eyes of the divine, right? And once you begin to see with the eye, people, we're not given that ability just to have it for our own good. Is what I get. Is that this group, if you find that you are becoming more aware that you've been gifted with second sight or some type of spiritual ability to take on a new perspective of a situation, or to see things in a different way, or to foresee things, or just things of that nature. If you feel like this is something that you are being introduced to in your life, if you're in your life, then you're being asked to remain aware of the fact that it's not meant only for personal gain. Obviously, you're going to use it to look at yourself, your situation, and heal that, but also expand it outwards to help others. Not everyone is meant to be at a podium teaching, but there's ways for your light to shine, even if that's just being a vulnerable person and letting other people see what it is that you're processing through. That speaks loud for me. That's how my journey with tarot and all this stuff, that's how this all came to be. I was going through stuff I was looking for answers, and once I began to see light or see things in a new way, as I continue to see things in new ways, or new perspectives unfold for me, the push to share becomes greater and greater. It's like you can't keep it all to yourself. And I feel the need to say that you don't really have to do a whole lot of extra. Don't feel like don't look at this in such a daunting way. There's nothing extravagant that's expected from most of us. We just come to believe that. Please clarify. Psalms 13 and 4. High Priestess in reverse. So, actually, this month, in December, this group of Taurus, you may be feeling that you're not seeing clearly, or that what you're seeing is not to be true. So you could be dealing with a lack of self-trust. Your intuition may be growing, and you may you may not see it. You may not see that as what's actually happening. I get the feeling that for some people, you may be sharing what you're learning or what you're thinking, and it may be being opposed by others. I say opposed, but it may not be the same as what other people believe, or what other people know, or what they've studied, or what the understanding that they have come to. And you may not trust yourself because of that. You may not trust that it's actually God or the universe speaking to you and giving you insights and guidance, or even just information. You're like, is that a download, or is that in my mind? And that is actually only coming from one. These are new gifts, and you probably just really don't get it. And then on the other hand, it could just be because other people around you believe differently, and it could because your faith in yourself and what you're coming to know, or even your intuition hasn't grown as strongly. It's not as strongly, you're not as rooted in it as you would hope, or it's not expected for you to be because it's new to you. So because you're not in that place where it's solid, I felt it now and I know it, you can find that you're being swayed one way or the other. But I do feel that in the month of December, Taurus, this group of Taurus, you might be presented with the opportunity to show, or something might happen that proves to you, that you're right. I say proves. The universe may devise a situation for you to receive acknowledgement of what you're doing, and almost like verification that you're not tripping, basically. So this could come in any way. If you've been doing certain works or sharing gifts and things like that with humanity, you may just begin to get some I wouldn't say accolades, but you might get like a review, or just someone letting you know how helpful you were in their situation. We have the High Priestess here. I don't know why I'm shuffling these again, but we have the High Priestess in reverse, we have the Devil in reverse, and we have the Page of Coins upright. Some of you are over focused on the material, and that rings true, because other people's thoughts, feelings, what we see is not where we're meant to be. It's not where there needs to be a balance here. Okay. Yeah, there needs to be a balance, because I don't know if this makes sense, but I hear fear is material. Fears are induced by what we see not matching what we believe or what we feel. And so maybe the opportunity that's going to be placed in front of you is one where you can't deny that what you felt, what you saw, what you believed about this situation is true. Also, don't be tempted to jump onto the party train of just using this for monetary gain, or gain, just whatever gain. I get the feeling of monetary gain. The devil card and the high priestess, so both major arcana being in reverse, and then the page of coins. This is saying that there is an opportunity here, and you want to be aware of the fact that you want to stay in alignment first, and you just want to be aware of the temptation to focus too much on what you're receiving, whether that's praise, money, whatever the case may be. I also feel some of you anticipated that, I say anticipated, but some of you felt as if your gifts were being challenged, or that people were attempting to disprove you or speak against you and your abilities. And you're going to see clearly that that's what it was, someone undermining your efforts to do your work that you felt guided to be doing. Please clarify the high priestess in reverse. The magician. Yeah. Someone, there was manipulation. And it's funny because we always think of the magician, people manipulating your mindset doesn't have to take magic or anything like that. There's psychology, there's role reversal, or what is it called? Reverse psychology. You know what I'm saying? Where your mindset is being altered by other people's reactions, or the things that they're saying or not saying, or not support. If they're not showing certain support, then it causes you to question. Okay. And that was on purpose, in my opinion. If that was happening in your environment, then it was definitely been done on purpose. But I also feel that there is someone who someone or an organization, who feels that they have gifted you, or they're the reason why you've obtained such insights and things like that. They want to be able to dictate how your gifts are going to be used. Taurus. And the magician and the high priestess being here, it makes me feel like one person wanted to be seen as a higher authority, or as a more spiritual, or more reliable, or more whatever than the other. And that just made my head hurt right here. For some, in the month of December, you're going to be going back to figure out what the foundation of your beliefs are. You're going to be going back to figure out how to best use your gifts, or how to best serve humanity with what you now know. I hear square one, but not in I have to wipe everything clean. Now that I've dived into this all the way, I realize that there are some things that I still need to learn to better navigate this, to better use what I have. Page of Coins, Eight of Swords in reverse. Again, don't be tempted to fall into fear and doubt regarding, I heard, what's manifesting for you right now. Do not be caught up in what is being physically shown to you, rather than trusting. It's like you have to have like a balanced relationship with what's here in the material, because it's going to be showing you little clues about which way it's going and which way it's not. And then also taking the spiritual, your spiritual connection and insight, and balancing them out. This is where you find I don't know where this is coming from, but this is where you find the highest truth of a situation. When you don't solely count on intuition, you merge the two. You trust your intuition, and then you assess what's taking place and your reaction to it. There's a balancing act is what I'm getting at for this group. One more card, please. Please clarify the devil. Nine of Staffs. Okay. In reverse. Nine of Wands in reverse. So this person is usually tired and just basically doing everything they can to gear up for the end of something or for what's next. Any you fought through the doubt. You know, if people have tried to say that you weren't something or that you tried to be something more than you were or whatever the case may be, all of these things are being dealt with, okay? And you no longer have to feel like you have to force yourself along on this path, all right? It doesn't seem like you're anticipating a whole lot of extra resistance past this place. Before, I feel like you were reluctant to do things because of the feedback that you had been given. So you're dropping the fears. You're dropping that the idea that this is too hard or this is too much and I can't go on. I can't anymore. The Page of Coins and the Magician are the only two cards that are in the upright in this spread. So it seems as if, again, there's this going back to where this is rooted from, or almost like there's a teacher, it seems. There's a teacher who can offer further insight for you, who may have already come in, maybe meeting them in December actually, who will help you to go ahead and move forward and drop everything else. And I keep hearing that some of you felt as if you needed to put yourself on a platform and do all of these different things. And the truth of the matter is you were working magic before you knew what magic was. Six of Cups in reverse. Yeah. So don't be tempted to fall into the mentality don't be tempted to fall back into the hole. Now that you see, okay, that was group one. Now that you see what's happening and you see the balance needed and you realize the value of the dark and the light in your life, don't be tempted to fall back into the hole of, oh, woe is me, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? But more so like, what is this teaching me? What is this revealing to me? So, group three. Psalms 5 and 9. It's funny. Closing that is like closing that last one. It's funny. This one is all about realizing the path. I don't know. These cards really speak together. You were down here. You really didn't see anything but the darkness. Now you're seeing with clearer insight, with a pure perspective. And then your path is now able to be revealed to you. The path that you're meant to take is being revealed to you. Now that you've actually dealt with fears, doubts, other people's opinions, you've dealt with how to deal with those things. Now the path is going to be introduced, because the path is wider than you would have ever imagined and goes further than you would have ever imagined. And so if your path would have been revealed and you started journeying it and then had to deal with all these things, it would have been a major catastrophe on the path. The reason that your direction wasn't as clear, even though your work or what you were being given to do and the actions you were being to take, you were very, very clear on that. However, the path where this was supposed to take you wasn't made clear to you, because you would have been detoured, and this would have tainted what this was meant to be, which is a clear, direct path. What is what's meant? That'll be the caption: a clear, direct path. Yeah. Okay. The right, O Lord, lead me along your righteous path because of my watchful foes. Make your way straight for me, straight before me. The right path will find you. There are many paths from which to choose, and you're asking yourself, how do I know what path is for me? Begin by purifying your life, by making healthier, more responsible choices, and over time, your life energy will become more dynamic. Remember, like attracts like. Indwelling light seeks out indwelling light of the same intensity or vibration. Inevitably, you'll be drawn to particular people, places, and things, and they'll be drawn to you. And life altering, incarnation altering information will be freely shared. See, if the information had been shared after you started on this path, you were sure of this path and you started walking it, it could have demolished your faith in yourself if any of the opposition started to show itself after you've been shown the direction you're supposed to go in. I hope that makes sense. So for group 3, there is something about you coming to deal with your own doubts, fears, anxieties, then able to see yourself and your environment through God's eyes. And then once you're able to see that, a path becoming clear to you. Now, if that was done in any other order, just imagine. So, may we please clarify with 3 cards, Psalms 5 and 9, for Taurus, Group 3, December 2018. Card wants to come out. King of Cups in reverse. Yes. So, lack of emotional maturity would have definitely deterred you. A lack of control over your feelings, emotions, would have dirtied this path. It's not to say that you wouldn't still walk it and it still wouldn't be there for you. That's not true. But it's almost if there was stuff that was going to require you to be able to choose without doubt and just choose and move. I get the feeling it may move pretty fast. In the month of December, you may be presented with something that moves really fast, and all of that heart, mind, back and forth would not be suitable for the situation. 5 of Cups. Yes. So whatever healing, whatever you needed to let go of, whatever you needed to be stopped soaking over, whatever past experiences were still lingering in your aura field, in your mind, in your memory, have to be walked away from. This is speaking to me, y'all. I just love doing this because it's like counseling for me too. So any of those things, you just got to let them go. If you had seen this path, you wouldn't have been able to respect the path. You wouldn't have been able to move forward with surety, confidence, if it was done any other kind of way. You had to be able to see everything that was meant for you to see before being gifted with this deeper clarity. Okay, clarity came on the path, but there was just like this unfolding that's profound, honestly, in my opinion. And if you were still clinging to or holding on to, if your aura is still dusty with old stuff, then it doesn't allow for the flawless, seamless manifestation of what it was you were trying to attract. It's like not following directions on something. I'm like, these bubbles on my the plastic covering is still on my desk. I haven't taken it off yet. And I think people do that with their cell phones too, right? You know, you leave the little film on there so you can get that protection for as long as you can before you have to put the other screen protector on. And so for me, if you don't follow the instructions on those that's all. I was gonna say, if you don't follow instructions when you're putting those new screens and stuff on, you end up with like all these bubbles and imperfections underneath that cause certain irritations. And those irritations, they don't necessarily prevent you from using the phone, but it just makes it a little less appeasing. I mean, appealing is the word. So, the path wouldn't have seemed as appealing had you not gained this sight first and dealt with the things that were blocking your sight. That makes sense. Now one more card for Taurus group 3. Take that one. The Empress. Yes. You're now able to follow down this path of higher awakening, higher purpose, higher calling. And I say that, again, we're going to reiterate, higher calling doesn't mean that you become a teacher, guru, whatever. Whatever path it was that is being revealed to you, you're now very confident in yourself and your ability to walk it, which is what was needed, because it was going to require for you to have that. I hear for myself in my mind, I say for myself, but I hear you need it. If this is like a relationship or a romantic type of thing, you need it to step into yourself. It's like going into a relationship with someone that everybody wants. Well, if you're still dealing with your own insecurities and fears and past hurts and things like that, you could potentially ruin, I say ruin, but sully a perfectly good situation for you. All because your confidence hasn't been returned. And that's why you're sent into your own self, into yourself, shown your darkness so that you can clean that up, clear your sight, obtain God's sight on the situation, on your life, period, and your surroundings. And then your confidence builds, because now that you can see with God's eyes, you're not only focused on what it is that these two eyes can see, if that makes sense. You're more confident in you. And that's what was needed for you to take this path. Whether that's a job, because for me, I feel like it's something that's definitely going to come in as an offer. And if it was to come in any sooner than you were able to accept yourself as you are, or what you were being molded into, you would reject it. You wouldn't feel ready, prepared, qualified. Please clarify the King of Cups here for Taurus group 3. Taurus group 3. Yeah, the Two of Swords. It would have caused a sense of your lack of emotional maturity or understanding would have caused, or healing, I heard healing, would have caused extreme indecisiveness. You would not have been able to pick away. And so in December, this group, you're realizing, you're seeing both sides. And I get the feeling that you will be able to accept this offer that's coming in. Multiple offers, honestly, that I'm hearing. So you'll be able to accept them. You won't be worried about it being too much work or your ability to maintain, because you've already worked through that. This is for those who actually have been working on themselves and dispelling their own fears and working through their own doubts and things like that. So if you have been working in that, December is a month where a path is being made very clear to you, Taurus, group 3. So 5 of Cups, if you were still focused on that worry, the loss, whatever just didn't work, whatever fears, just whatever, you wouldn't be able to take this leap of faith. There's not a whole lot of planning that is going to be able to be done when this is offered to you, So for some, I hear that, I think with group 1, they were talking about ideals and what is stability to you, blah, 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 not blah, 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 but you know what I'm trying to say. So what things make up your foundation, or what are your pillars in life? And for some of you, you are releasing yourself from those strict regimes. And if you had not dealt with that, then this opportunity you would have definitely missed, trying to overanalyze, overplan. You wouldn't have been able to just take the leap. And it's this opportunity that's coming is, I want to say like once in a lifetime, but it's just like if you don't jump it this time, then you're going to be back doing this again. And it's just like, geez. I say once in a lifetime. So it seems like perhaps you've turned it down multiple lifetimes because of fear, anxiety, depression, whatever the case may be. The Six of Coins is coming out to clarify the Empress. You're balanced in your being. You know what you give to the world. You know what you know both sides. You're understanding both sides, and this opportunity in December is really going to balance you in yourself. You've been working it, and the only piece of the puzzle that was missing was the finger pointing to the path. Where do you, okay, everything I worked on, now the divine is pointing you, okay, go take it here, take it here. And once you get that finger point, it's almost like, boom, okay, everything's in order. I see why I was there. I see why I was here, and I see where I'm going. The Empress has a toe ring on. It just popped out to me, and it feels like you're seeing that every single thing had its significance when you start on this path that you're being directed to. You'll be seeing that every little detail was something. It was like all this huge conglomerate. It was just like all working together for you to push you in this direction. You know, when we take the effort or the time to adorn our toes, it's just like we're seeing that every little piece is beautiful, it's valuable, it's worthy of some attention, you know. Also, going back to that relationship, you know, if you ended up with a partner who was in higher standing in the public eye, you needed to balance yourself out. You needed to learn who you were in yourself so that when you go, you're not just merging into them and becoming one with them. You know, this person is going to be pouring onto you so much, by the way. Really just every detail of you is beautiful to this person. And I don't know who needed to hear that in this group, but every little detail about you is important and they won't overlook any of it. That's dope. So in the month of December for these three, for Taurus in general, what is the month of December bringing? What will they be experiencing? What can they expect in the month of December 2018? Can I have 3 cards, please? Yeah, I just looked all the way around this room. My daughter says sometimes I look like I'm lost when I'm looking around the room. And what I told her was that sometimes I'm legit taking in just everything that's around, you know, you just take it in. But other times you're looking for things, you know, you're looking, you feel that there's something there for you, and then you just kind of like glancing around, you know, to see what pops out. Which is a huge thing because actually I watch a reader who does that a lot. She'll read or have cards, but a lot of her inspiration will be coming from her environment. So she'll put a card down and then she'll look outside and birds will be doing a certain dance and that will be speaking to her. So in the month of December, Taurus, you may really truly just be taking it all in. Taking it all in. Ooh. Well, take it in then with the 9 of Cups at the bottom. So, you know, you are finalizing. You're finalizing and closing. We got the 4 of Cups, the 7 of Cups in reverse, and the 10 of Swords. So it's like you're finalizing the mental torture. You're finaling. You're just closing that out. Mental torture that you've been enduring and inflicting upon yourself as well. Also, spiritual warfare is ending. If you were dealing with any type of psychic attack or anything like that, it's ending. And now your self-esteem is building and growing. Any parts of you that you've rejected now, you're no longer confused about those parts of you. Okay, you're gaining understanding of them and how they feed into this bigger picture. So it's funny because you create the Nine of Cups in your environment, which is for wish fulfillment or just feeling accomplished in yourself, and then something swoops in for you to deepen that, to you feel it on the inside, and then someone comes in to grant your wish in the, in a bigger way or in the physical form. Also, Taurus, no longer confused about what brings you happiness or what's going to bring you happiness. Closing. All right. Thank you, Taurus, again for choosing the flowering for your December 2008 reading. If you've liked the reading, or if you would just like to come back and see what else is going to happen, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now.